If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Hey folks, welcome back. We have Dr. Joe here today on Zoom, and we're going to be talking about some very cool, interesting things. Pencils, not just any pencil, but pencils. And Dr. Joe, take the show. Hi, Liz.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Hi. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm going to go into full screen mode. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
looks great.
And again, you know, I sent the PDF file out so you guys have something to reference for it. Rather than giving small little image, I put the entire size of the slide on the thing. So, yeah, I want to talk about the wonderful world of pencils. I've always enjoyed writing with pencils. And it doesn't mean I don't like fountain pens or any other kind of pen, but this is, for me, as fine a writing experience as you can get, depending upon the type of lead you use. So one of the things a lot of folks, some people mistakenly think, obviously, pencils have lead in them. There was a time when they used lead, but that long is gone, since gone. Basically, it's a combination of graphite and clay, but what's not here is that there's also some wax added to help bind the whole thing together. The proportions of graphite to clay is what's really important when it comes to choosing a pencil. I think most of us, and correct me if I'm wrong, but who remembers using 2B pencils, you know, the yellow one?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. We'll talk about what that constitutes, but typically the graphite and clay mixture makes up about 95% of the pencil lead. There's about 5% on wax. And so the more graphite you have versus the clay you have, the softer and darker is the pencil. And I'll show you some charts on that as well. The more clay it has, the lighter and harder is the pencil. And so when it comes to clay and pencils, most people don't realize this, but there's two different types of clays that are combined. One is bentonite, which is shown on the left here. And that's, the name comes from Fort Benton, where it discovered the largest deposit of this. And kaolin, kaolinite, which is actually referred to as Georgia kaolin, because I guess the largest deposit is in my state of Georgia. And so these two are combined in I think a 60-40 ratio to add to the graphite on small amounts, depending upon the hardness and softness that you want of that. And so this is a chart that really explains quite a bit. Okay, so there is a numeric scale and an HB scale. All right, and so there's the two are combined. You can see here that there's like the 2B we mentioned. You can see on the bottom, third from the left, the bottom smear. It's a relatively dark pencil, and that's because there's only a certain amount of clay in there, and I'll show you that in another slide. But the letter H refers to hardness, the letter B refers to blackness, and then F, which is something I wasn't familiar with until I seen this slide, refers to the ability for it to keep a point. And so if you look at this, you see there's a crossover point between the B and the HB, and all of a sudden the next one comes up on the far right is the F. I don't think I've ever seen a pencil designated with an F before. Maybe you guys have, I haven't. And interrupt me if you guys want to say something or add comment to this, but so that's the way in which these things are pretty much rated. Now, I mentioned
that last one to the far right, the very darkest one right there.
That's the 9XXB. I've never seen one like that. They might be artist pens or some pencils. I don't know. My experience is only with a few of these. You know, the HB, the 2B. You know, you don't want these things. The darker they get, the more they can smear, I guess.
Dr. Joe,
Yes.
my days doing drafting in school, that's where I experienced these, and I never really understood why there was an F in the middle of all these H's and B's, and now this makes sense. So that's good.
Okay, good. Like I said, have you seen a pencil that was marked as an F?
Well, I've seen pencil lead, usually in a Pentel or in a,
Yes.
they had the other type of drafting pencils that were the wider, thicker, almost like the lead out of a pencil. but that's the only time I've seen these.
Okay, yeah. And there are some countries still making, incredible pencils, which I'll speak about in a few minutes. So this is a really interesting slide. So if you talk about a fine, let's go to the F. You look at the middle of the top line, the hardness, which says F. You can see the color lead it would the color it would produce with proper pressure. 66% of that is graphite. 28% is clay.
Excuse me, Doc.
Yes.
I apologize for the interruption.
It's okay.
Now, Jake found that one on Amazon, the
9XXB.
The 9XXB on here.
Really?
Yeah.
Do me a favor, post a link in the chat section. I'd like to look at it too.
Okay.
I haven't searched these out to purchase, but it's just interesting to see. So the famous 2B pencil that most school kids were using, at least in my area, you could see it would go down to where it says 2B, and then below you see 74% of that is graphite, which means it's darker. 20% is clay. You still have the 5% wax as a binder to add the whole thing together. But not all pencils are marked like this. They will tell you they will tell you what the approximate combination is, and then show you darkness values of it. But so this is a thing I wanted for a long time. Finally got it. The Graph von Faber-Castell. This is their pencil set. Now this is way and above what most people want to spend on a pencil. But I just love the look of this thing. So you can see it almost looks like a clip there. Well, it is a clip. That's a point protector, Larry. So after you sharpen the pen, you stick the point in that way, and it protects the point. There's other Palomino, the black wings, they also have their own point protectors, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay. But this is a beautiful, beautiful set.
How much is the set?
What's that?
How much is the set?
Larry, I honestly do not remember what I paid for that, but it was a few $100s.
That's not bad for a set like that. So then what happens is there's the pencil at the bottom, and it fits into the cap part section, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can see the little white erasers plug into that metal section. And they also make these usually out of cedar wood, they smell beautiful. Now you'll see, and this is the Blackwing Palomino pens. I had a subscription to them for a long time. They would come out every quarter with these different pens of a different theme. And they always put one inside of a glass test tube with a cork on it to show you what the thing looks like. But this contains, I think, about a dozen of these pencils. And the interesting about
on this one, I have some Blackwings.
Oh yeah.
Why is the top of the eraser square like that? Is there a reason for it?
That's the way they make them. There may very well be a reason. You got to keep in mind something. I'm not an expert on pencils, but that's one of the things you can do with these pencils is you can replace the eraser. If you notice at the very tip there where the eraser is a little curled part, yeah, you can take that out and replace it. So if you look at here's a Tomball. These are from I think
right.
What?
Wow, I never knew that at all. Huh.
Yeah, and I'll show you the replacement leads for these erasers in a minute. But this is sort of the traditional looking pencil. This one I believe was made in Vietnam, I think. But you can see this is a 2B. If you look at the pencil, it says 2B on that pencil, right? I'm sorry, HB. I'm sorry, HB, not 2B, HB. Now on the bottom, I outlined the HB section. You can see what HB's components are: 68% graphite, 26% clay, and 5% wax. Now the interesting thing is if you add these numbers up, some of them equal 100%, others equal like 98%, and I don't know why that is. It could very well be because the higher clay amounts, the clay is what we call a hydrous clay. It's hydrous kaolin, and which means it contains some water molecules. So that could, I'm theorizing, I could account for the slight difference in these numbers should add up, at least in theory, to 100. And by the way, the other thing I forgot to mention about the clay, and there are women and men, I guess, who use that for their face. They put these clay masks on their face. Typically, that's made with sodium bentonite, but the pencils actually use the calcium bentonite in their clay. But this is, so these pencils are made all over the world. This is a beautiful, beautiful set I picked up. This is Carandash, and you can see the different colored pencils, right? That represents different.
If you don't mind for a minute, which is better, the this one or the Faber-Castell, in your opinion?
No, they're both amazing pencils.
Okay.
They're both high quality pencils. But the beautiful thing about this set makes different woods for each pencil. And they're aromatic woods too. So you get this, it's just, I mean, that's a wonderful thing about working with wood. You get to smell the actual wood, you know. And you can see these KUM erasers from Germany, it's sharpeners from Germany.
Okay, right down there, yeah, on the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, the one on the bottom right. Yeah, that's the pouch that you hold it in. So these you have to grind over a cup because the lead and the wood chips just come right out of it. But what I'll show you in a little while is the widest thing has two different sections.
I'm sorry, Junior. I got a lot of questions.
No, ask away, Larry. It's fine.
The sharpener. There's so many sharpeners I've seen. For what reasons? Like this sharpener, is this a good sharpener? Is this a?
I'm getting to it, Larry. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the sharpeners in a moment.
Right.
And so now there's a Blackwing set. This is actually the first pencil set I picked up. If you notice here, they've got, if you look carefully at the pencils that are inlaying in the foam, there's two white ones, two gray ones, and two dark gray ones. That just means that they have different compositions of their lead, different components of graphite versus clay. They also have their own sharpener you see up in the upper right-hand corner. That has a nice little plastic lid on it, so you don't have to worry about spilling your lead if you're sharpening the pencil. But that one too has two different sides to it. Stick it in, and then you can see at the bottom right, those are the point protectors. That once you sharpen it, you go to store it, you simply put the pencil into it. And then on the top of the box, you see a white pack. It says Blackwing. Those are the replacement erasers. Now, if you look at the pencils themselves, there's the white eraser, the pink, and the black. They have different textures and different amount, because as you increase the amount of clay, it becomes harder to, I guess, remove it from the surface of the page. But there's a lot there. But this is a beautiful set. It's not as expensive as the Castell one. This is a much. Unfortunately, I don't have the prices for these things, but they're not hard to find. This is a beautiful set, and this is showing when I first got that, and I forget when I did this, but I sharpened them all, and I wrote samples with them. So the way in which they're stacked is the way in which they produce the word Palomino. So the white one produced the very one on the left. You can see as you get that, it's hard to really distinguish this, but the one on the right, this is Palomino, that was written with the black one. And they tell you in their notes, and I don't have it in front of me, what the different grades are like of this. I just wanted to actually show a comparison of this. The thing about trying to show the darkness or the lightness of a lead is that it really depends upon your pressure. Can you exert proper pressure throughout the entire stroke? I can't do that, so that's why some parts look a little darker than others. And I'm not sure how many people can actually write that way. But one of the things that these pencils did for me is that I was able to sharpen them to an incredible point, and then I try and write with it. And if I put any pressure on it, the point would break.
Okay.
So I didn't have one of those fines. So it helped me lighten my penmanship a little bit with the heaviness of my stroke. And so I personally, guys, I love this type of pencil. I have lots of mechanical pencils, but for me, it brings me back to my childhood, sharpening these things, smelling that wood. This is my preference. The problem is the points, again, don't last as long if you're going to do a lot of writing with it. There used to be a time where people sharpen their pencils with just a knife. And you can see the one on the left here. This is a very old ad from like the turn about the early 1900s or late 1800s, and that's the way they would normally sharpen pencils. You still see people do that today. Then they came out with this device that puts it into a chamber. It allows you to get this better faceted sharpening and a better point as well. I don't have one of these things, but I thought it was really interesting to see what was trying. You had to do that with a knife, and you're pulling a knife towards your finger too. So you got to be careful with that. Now on to sharpeners. Here's also, you'll see on left and right, these are additional Blackwing quarterly releases. There's limited edition pencils that have different types of lead in them, different color erasers. And again, here you can see the little sample of the one on the left. That sharpener there is probably one of the best hand sharpeners in the world. That's also an expensive item. I can't remember what I paid for it. I think that's in the $200-300 area for that. This one grips the pencil, and you just turn it, and it sucks the pencil into the, and it sharpens. The problem is, I got an inset. You can see the red rectangle on top. Those jaws will actually damage the pencil. Now, for me, don't really care. For some people, my buddy, my name John, doesn't like that. You know, so you wouldn't want to use this type of eraser, this type of sharpener. I'm sorry. But you can see the little button there on the drawer. That's where the filings fall out. You pull that out and empty it out. But this is a real precision-made item from Carandash, and I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But this is not like your typical little cheap sharpener you strap to a board. This is heavy enough to be able to stand there alone and sharpen it, because the thing is gripping the pencil, so you can put your hand on top of it and make sure it doesn't move. So that's a fabulous sharpener. I like the point it gives me. But now we'll go on to the other types of sharpeners. So I can get my, okay, why is she locked up on me? Okay. I think I went, okay, it jumped forward. So I had a little delay on my computer. So now, Larry, here's a close-up of that sharpener where you have the two different length blades. And so you first sharpen it in the number 1 spot, then you bring it up to number 2, and it gives you longer lead uncovered. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. So you can see those are the kinds of points this can put on there after the two-step procedure. Right. You don't really see these. I mean, most people sharpen pencils. The point is much lower than that. It's not as long. But this is what I was writing with, because again, imagine trying to write with that kind of point and not break the very tip of it. Right. And so that's the whole purpose of these things. And this comes with extra blades. The blue, I don't show it in the image, but the blue cap on top of that sharpener, there's I think 2 extra blades in there. So if these things, dull, because if you really want to write correctly with this, you have to really make sure that the blades are sharp enough to really do what they need to do. Not sure. Well, give me a second here. Come on. Okay. For some reason it's blocked. I mean, it might be the size of these images. They shouldn't be that big. So here is another type of sharpener. I mentioned the Blackwing Palomino one, see the plastic lid on it. It too has an A stage and a B stage, but this will trap the shavings for it, not go all over the place. And I have this electric one. I've never really used it, but this thing will give you these ridiculous. I mean, look at the length of some of these leads.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I think that's more for artists, to be honest with you. I don't know, unless you can say if there's anything about drafting that would matter, Frank. I don't know if Frank, would you ever use a lead that long? No, right? So, but this is what could happen. And these are the kinds of things I prefer to write with these wooden pencils. Doesn't mean I don't own this entire collection, but most people aren't aware that Rhodia, the paper I like, puts out their own mechanical pencil. And so, right, and so you can see there's a ballpoints here, God forbid. Then you can see that I have the orange one here, the lead one. That's I think 3rd from the right. And so it's a beautiful mechanical pencil. The thing about mechanical pencils, you only get so sharp a point with it because it's the diameter of the lead. I think you guys have seen this image before. It's probably my favorite image. This is the Montblanc Boheme pencil. And so I love the shape of this thing. I love how small it is.
It looks pretty, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great mechanical pencil. Some of you probably know that Montblanc puts out this Leonardo sketch pencil. I don't know if it's still made, but this thing,
never heard that.
You didn't ever heard of it? Yeah, I don't know if it's still, somebody want to say something? Is it still being made?
Yeah. Is that a devil point on that Montblanc, or just a pencil that goes into the Montblanc?
That's a pencil. If you look to the left, those are the leads. Those are 5.5 millimeter leads that go into that. And so I don't know this for a fact, but I think there probably is a sharpener in the cap of that mechanical pencil. I don't know, because I'm not sure how you would get that kind of sharpness to it. But these things,
Dr. Joe, when I was doing mechanical drawing and we used ones like this, we actually had a little, almost like a little paddle with some fine sandpaper on there, and we'd actually turn lead and draw it across the sand to
Okay.
sharpen it.
I know with some of the mechanical drafting pencils, the ones that are thick, I mean, this is 5.5 millimeters, but the ones you originally mentioned, I saw a circular thing with like a little tub with the top. You put the pen in, you rotate the pen, it would sharpen the larger leads, but not this one. This is, yeah, I don't know if they put that, like, it wouldn't, for me, I wouldn't want to put this across sandpaper because you've got the gold-plated metal at the tip of that thing. I think, I could be wrong, but I think there might be a sharpener that comes with it, or it's in the cap. I don't know, but I don't own this. I have no reason to own a pencil like that, except for the fact that it looks cool. So,
Yeah, looks quite cool.
yeah, doesn't it? And so I don't know what that's HB lead. So again, you can see here where the HB is on the bottom left. I can bring up that other one, but the components are less important of the percent clay, in my opinion. Just know what you're looking for in the way of a graded pencil. You know, 2H, HB, whatever, 2B, whatever it might be. This is something, I don't know if I'm the guy who invented this, but I've never seen it before I did it. And so this is an oblique pencil for those of us who like to do copper plate script. So I took an old vintage bullock style holder that has this really fancy flange on it, and I stuck one of these drafting Alvin drafting leads. You can see the one with the red asterisk into it, and then had this thing as an oblique pencil for practice. This shows you on the lower left, shows you what that flange looks like. And I think most of you see my own namesake holder, the Vitolo oblique. I use the same type of flange in there. So you can make an oblique pencil if you wanted to. And this was done simply to carry it with me and practice certain strokes. So that's an oblique pencil. Then again, what you can do with pencils, this is to try and keep the pressure the same as I write this. This was done a few years ago. But when you write with a pencil on good paper, it's almost like, and I've never been an engraver, but I imagine this is what an engraver would feel like. It almost tracks across the paper, you know, and these were written with the regular Palominos, not with a mechanical pencil. Although I have done things with a mechanical pencil. This is the darker gray Palomino that was in that set I showed you. You know, there are people that get, you know, I don't post these on, I'd be comfortable posting this on Larry's site, but if you try this on like the fountain pen network page, whatever it is, you get blasted for not posting something that's, you know, fountain pen. I've never gotten that crazy with you know, fountain pens or anything like that, but I love writing with this stuff. And this I wrote in 2008, man, how time flies.
Yeah, I use pencils today. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're great. This is one of my favorite sayings by Schopenhauer. It says, talent hits a target that no one else can hit. Genius hits a target that no one else can see. I love that. I just love that. Yeah, and so that's my little spiel on pencils. But before I totally turn over the reins here, let me go ahead and I've got a video I'd like to show you guys if I can get the thing. It's a 3-minute video. It won't take long. Hopefully I can get this to play. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to try and go full screen on it. Can you see full screen now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful.
All right, it's like a 3-minute video. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Good.
What brand of pencils is that they're making, Doc?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You need a type of wood that's soft enough to sharpen, yet strong enough not to bend.
Statler.
Under
There you go.
pressure. This German pencil factory uses cedar from California. The
Wow.
wood is 0.2 inches thick and arrives
Wow.
in slats of 7 by 2.5 inches. 1 by 1, the slats pass under a giant cutting wheel. It carves grooves that will become the channel down the middle that holds the lead. The next machine fills the grooves with glue, a special formulation that's slightly elastic. This cushions the lead so that it's less likely to break inside the channel. Every second slat moves onto another conveyor belt. The ones that stay on this line head toward the machine that lays in the lead. The lead is made of a graphite and clay mixture. baked in an oven at almost 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. The lead laying machine's wheel loads itself with leads, their spacing matching the grooves in the slats. Now for the slats that move to that other conveyor belt. An automated arm flips each one over, slides it across a glue applicator, then drops it onto a leaded slat on the other conveyor belt. All the steps to this point have culminated in what is effectively a lead sandwich. Now a plunger squeezes those sandwiches together with a full ton of pressure. It compresses them for an hour while the glue dries. After that, it's just a matter of slicing the sandwiches into pencils. This shaping machine makes the hexagonal profile in 2 steps. First, its upper cutter forms 3 sides on top, then its lower cutter shapes 3 sides on the bottom. As soon as the bottom side is cut, the pencils separate. Now it's time to dress that bare wood. One at a time, the pencils shoot through a device called a lacquering head. It coats the wood in paint, yellow in this case. Last stop, the rubber tip assembly machine. First, it squeezes the top of the pencil to slide on an aluminum ferrule. Then it inserts a rubber eraser into the ferrule's other end and squeezes that tight. The pencils are finally ready to roll. Across a grinding drum for sharpening. By the time they roll off, they're pointed perfection.
Very cool.
Oh, that was cool.
I never knew why they had different sides on a pencil. I know.
The world's largest carbon capture.
Yeah, you know, one of the things, I'm sorry, what was the comment?
I just say I never realized why they had 8 sides on a pencil.
Oh, okay. Oh, some of them are round, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they do. I actually, that's a great point. I'm used to writing with the hexagonal ones because that, for me, that keeps the pencil stable in my hand. But I can write with the circular ones too. If you notice, they talked about the clay and the lead. They bake it at 1500 degrees.
Wow.
And if anybody who's ever done pottery knows that when you fire clay at high temperatures, it hardens it. And so that's also why they do this. If they just simply mix the clay, the wax, and the graphite, that would come apart pretty easily. So they're baking these things to give them a certain level of stability. And I will also put the link. I see some good links in there. Great. I could put the link too for the that video. But yeah, you can search that out on YouTube. It's amazing what you can find on YouTube. So that's the wonderful world of pencils.
Wow.
Okay, I got a question. Bunch of them, really. Oblique Pencil. Never heard of it.
Larry, okay, hold on. When I do copper plate, I might have mentioned this in the past, maybe I didn't, but the pen that we use, hold on, is called an oblique penholder. And what that does is angle the pen to a point where it accommodates slant and shading. So let me open this up for you. I'm going to share my screen again. So this is an oblique pen holder. This happens to be my namesake, oblique pen holder. You see how the steel dip pen is off at an angle?
Yeah.
That's done to accommodate the shading. I'd have to demonstrate it for you to show it to you, but trust me on this. It makes it a lot easier to make slanted, shaded letters that you'd see in copperplate script or in grocer script. That's why I came up with a pencil, because to do that, if you go into you can take your inkwells to a restaurant, but you run the risk of spilling it on the table. So if you want to have a pen with you can practice your letters with an oblique holder. That's why I came up with the pencil. But again, I don't know if I'm the only one who's ever done. I've never seen it before, but that made sense to me to do that. So it's because the pen that's used by most right-handed calligraphers, even the left-hander like John de Calibus, if you remember him talking, he used a right-handed oblique pen holder, same one I would use. So that's why I came up with that.
Now, I have 2 of these. First one's in the garage, and the one in the garage is about 60 years old on the wall. Yeah. Now, this one, I forgot where I got it from, but this one is from the Deluxe Chicago Automatic Pencil Sharpener Company, Rockford, Illinois, USA, right here.
Is there a patent on that one?
Huh?
Is there a patent date on that?
I've been looking and I can't find it. And now this right here is plastic and it does come off, however it comes off. And I've used it before. But here we go. There we go. There we go. Come
Larry,
on.
where we moved from before we came here, I was about a half an hour away from Rockford, Rockford,
really?
Illinois.
Here's the inside of it.
Yeah.
Standard
And-
school pencil sharpener.
Yep.
I'm trying to see if it has a patent or a date on this thing.
Now, the ones I always had a ring that you would turn with different size pencils,
Yes.
and that would keep it. I mean, you might do some scuffing, but it wouldn't have those teeth marks the way that the Caran d'Ache had the grip on it.
I can't find any. I know this is plastic though, right
And
here.
it's very heavy.
Yeah. We had in my house, we used to have one that was nailed in, screwed into a plank, a board.
Yeah.
And that's stable. I mean, you don't need a lot of force to turn these things, but the only thing that was never accounted for, Frank, is these things dulling over time, right? You know, because they are steel. After a while, they're going to dull. But I just love the whole aspect of a pencil and the smell of the thing as you grind it up. And I still like mechanical pencils as well. They're beautiful, but they.
Yeah, I got those. I mean, I just the low end ones.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, they work. They work.
Yeah. But
You know,
I just there's no date or nothing on this. But, you know, it's plastic. This part plastic, and the other one in the garage is metal. So it works.
Yeah.
But my thing is, they don't do the square ones, just the round ones, I guess. It wasn't made for square pencils. was it?
No, you're talking about the ones that like woodworkers would use, the flat square ones.
Yeah.
There's actually mechanical pencils like that too. Somebody gave me one. The leads are like rectangular that go through it. But no, that'll sharpen a round pencil, outer diameter, or a hexagonal one. That's not going to matter for that. But if you're talking about flat leads, carpenters today still go ahead and use their knives to sharpen them.
Yeah.
You know, these are the ones. I'm not. Yeah, I guess they just want the thing to be able to last. It goes over a coarse surface.
See, I got the square ones here. It won't fit in here.
No, it won't.
No,
you gotta use
that's
a knife
not-
on that.
Yeah, you got to use a knife on that, Larry.
A knife?
Yep. Get out your utility knife out of your tool belt and just whittle away at it.
A
You trust
knife?
him with you trust him with a knife around the house, Jake?
No, I have them in a locked cabinet.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is actually a mechanical pencil somebody gave me. That's because Bonjour on. It's got a 2B in here, but I know I can show you this. The lead coming out of there is rectangular. You see it?
Huh.
Yeah. Why is that?
And it's for people that want to do like you can actually do broad pen type of strokes with this, because it's a longer rectangular, I guess is the way to say it. But that's the, you know, it's not a thick lead on this from the side. It's rather thin, but it's flat. I'd never seen one of these before until my friend gave it to me, a calligrapher friend of mine. This was made in Korea, I believe. It says Pink Foot 2B. I've
Can you
never
draw?
really used it.
Draw a straight line and show it how it writes.
Unfortunately, I don't. Hold on for a second. Just the way you'd see a broad pen, right? I'd have to go ahead and talk, guys. What I'll do is I'll take a picture.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I have the Force Choice pencil, and they're both square on the end. So I have yet to figure out how to sharpen it. So I just look at it. Okay. And then I've got the Baron Fig pencils.
That's the triple broad.
I've got this Baron Fig type and this Baron Fig type. You got those two types, and they look like, here's one of the Baron figs here, but it looks like it's round, but I always put an eraser on mine because they don't come with erasers. Why don't they come with erasers?
It depends on what the intended use is for, right? If you're a carpenter using a pencil, you know, they're not looking to erase their marks. You know, they mark it, cut it. That's speculation on my part, but that's what I believe. Let me see. Hoping my little images will load.
And then you got the little cheapies. I guess this is a number 2 pencil here. Right there, that's a little. And then this is another little cheapie. Chicago rock and roll, whatever that is. So, yeah, it's and I can tell the difference when I write with them. I don't like dull pencils at all. In fact, I'm going to sharpen this pencil, I think. There you go. Do some work. It works better if it was mounted.
Doc, I had a question I was going to ask you. It's just, I don't know if you could actually answer it. I know you've said enough about why you personally like writing with pencils, and we know artists use them, and we know from what Frank said that people who work with pencils for a living do that. But what kind of people would other than these things can you think of would like to write with pencils? Because those are really pricey pencils, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. This is a speculation again. Why do I want to buy a Montblanc 149 when I can buy a Jinhao for $25? I mean, it's the same type of thing. At least it's my impression of it. Do I want to write with the really expensive Caran d'Ache, pencils? Not necessarily. I'm okay with the school grade ones. But for some people, why does Montblanc make pens that are $20,000? Do you need to have diamonds on your pen or diamonds on your Rolex wristwatch to tell time? I'm assuming it's a preference, but it could also be people want to write with the best they can use. And my understanding is, Swiss pencils are just that they really take a lot of care in making their leads. Could I tell that? Honestly, no. It's like when somebody asked me, why do you like writing with a 21 karat, sailor nib? Can you tell the difference between that and a steel one? Probably not. I mean, some people argue about spring, whatever it might be, but I like stiffer points. And yeah, I don't know. I guess there's certain things that'll forever remain a mystery to me. Let me go ahead and share the screen again. So I'm going to show you that pencil lead.
Now, Lamy made a mechanical pencil.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see how narrow, and so in a vertical stroke, it makes a thin line. Diagonally or left to right, it makes a thicker line, just like a chisel edge nib would do on a fountain pen. It's the same type of thing. I also have one here that, I don't know if I can come out of this. Can you see this image, the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the pen on the side. So you can see it's a lot less, it's a very narrow, flat, rectangular lead that goes in that. But if you look at the stroke on the C, right, it's like at about the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock position, it's a very thin line. As you come around, then you encounter the broad edge, and it gives you that, just like when you're doing Gothic lettering or something.
Yeah, Doc, would you mind giving us the rest of the numbers on your MasterCard?
Yeah, there you go.
You're only showing us the last 4. What good's that going to do with?
Did I do that?
Yeah. 6662. I'll never forget it.
Oh, yeah.
A number that will live in infamy.
Yeah,
Thanks for pointing it out for everyone to see on the video.
I didn't think about that. That's actually one of my newer
Where do
cards.
you find that pencil at, Doc?
What's that?
Where do you find that pencil at?
It was given to me as a gift. I'm sure you can find them. I don't, again, I don't know. I have a cluster here I was going to take a picture of, but these are all the ones I showed on the screen, all different pencils, but yeah, no, I don't know about this. Was given to me as a gift. I think I want to say Janie she might have been somewhere in Europe when she found it. I'm sure you could find these things.
What's the name of it?
It says bonjour on it.
Bonjour.
And it says pink foot. No, pink, wait, a pink foot. Designed by Pinkfoot. There's actually a website, www.pinkfoot.co.kr. So I'm assuming that's Korea.
Yeah, it looked like when I looked at Pinkfoot, it had a whole bunch of children's pencils and pens and things out of Korea.
It feels like that. This feels like that to me. It's a plastic pencil, which is fine. I don't think there's a way to reload it. You know, I think it's probably cheap enough where it's like, you know, what us humans do to the earth, throw plastic away. You know, you guys probably.
Jet Pens has a Morning Glory Sketch 1000 pencil for $2.85. $2.85.
Wow.
Question: how do you feel a Lamy mechanical pencil? I am trying to put some lead in it and it won't fill.
Well, it's sometimes what happens, Larry, is that the lead gets jammed in there, or the tip if the tip is exposed, sometimes you can bend that tip a little bit if it drops or hits the desk, you know, and then you can't feed through it. All those pencils should come with a little needle that you can stick into the front of it.
Right, this one didn't.
Clear it. Yeah, to clear it.
A lot of times the little needle will be in the end of the eraser. So if you pull the eraser out, if there is one, my Pentel pencils always had a little needle on the end of it.
Right.
There's no needle in that pencil, Larry?
Ain't nothing. Not like a little. And of course I can take it apart.
Did you try putting leads in the back of that pencil?
Yeah, I sure did.
And they won't feed through?
Nope, wouldn't at all.
Either the point is bent?
You can take this up, I thought.
Sometimes it's the size of the lead that you're trying to put through a pencil that's not going to fit.
It comes with 3 different ones. You got a red, a blue, and of course the pencil thing right here.
Huh.
So it's got 2 ballpoints and a pencil?
Right,
Interesting.
I've never seen that before.
It's a cool pen, and I want to replace the ink with some gel because I don't like the way they write.
You know, some of these things, though, Larry, it doesn't pay to go through the expense of doing all that. It might be just the same price to buy a new one. I don't know what it costs.
This was like almost $200.
Is it?
Yep, when I bought it.
I try and repair it then.
I didn't know it was almost $200. So I said I'd buy it. He said, okay.
Doc, that Montblanc sketch pen, one of the links I posted here is indication that the cap is actually what you use to point the lead. The cap, which is a work of art in itself, is used to point the lead. And I've looked up many of the things as you've talked along here, and I've listed them in there. So,
you know, the thing is, I'm afraid to look into this any further because I don't need the pencil, but I might buy one just to have it. You know, it's really cool looking. You know, it's just yeah. Probably will.
And then I have a Papermate mechanical pencil, pretty cool. And I got a Pentel mechanical pencil, a Uniball mechanical pencil, and other mechanical pencil. I'm a pencil freak.
Yeah, I just got I like rollerballs, you know, as well. Not as much as I like pencils or fountain pens, but I might have posted, you know, I got a Montblanc Boheme, a rollerball. It's interesting because the 3 different types of pens, that's the largest, the longest of them. The pencil and the fountain pen are relatively short because they, you know, the fountain pen retracts into the pen. It's like a safety pen. But I think I have an image of that. Let me see. Boheme. And I really like, even though I got relatively big hands, I really like those small pens. Here it is. I guess I didn't take an image of it yet. Oh, no, I do. I think I did. Oh, here it is. Okay. These were all purchased off eBay as basically not new, but in mint condition, and they showed up like that. Can you see it?
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
The one on the right is the roller ball. It's much longer. And I think it was Liz. Was you asked me about the sticker on this, or somebody else asked me about the sticker on the fountain pen?
I think I asked you a lot of questions about this.
Somebody asked about.
It's just beautiful when you showed it to me.
Yeah, the stickers. I don't normally remove, for no reason. I don't intentionally remove them. But those Montblanc stickers that show the point size, they're not very durable. So if you're going to use that pen, they'll wear off quickly. So I just usually remove them. I'm not somebody who buys pens for resale. Even though I sell lots of pens, I don't buy them for resale value. I know people that were collectors that had, good amounts of money. They would buy the pen they wanted to use and one or two of them in the box to be sealed. And that to me is like buying a beautiful car and never using it. I always said this, there's not a pen I own, regardless of how much it is or cheap it is, that I wouldn't put in my pocket and wear out and work. What are you going to do if it gets broken? That's life. I just stick it in one of my things and never use it is just not what I would do, not how I approach things. So
now, do they make square pencil sharpeners?
Geez, Larry, I'll leave that to Frank. He was the draftsman. I've never seen it.
I think that just like with the hexagonal or the octagonal, you just go up to the circle size big enough. But I mean, if you're talking about square, if you're talking about the rectangular, like the for the carpenter's pencil, then no. But if it's an actual square, all four sides the same, you just go up to the circle size that's big enough to put the pencil in the sharpener.
Right.
So like the one I have in the garage, it's all for round, but you can turn the little dial to fit your pencil.
That's what I was saying.
Now,
Yeah.
this one doesn't have that.
No,
It's just one size fits all, I guess.
I think that the problem without it is that you could put the pencil in at an angle, and then you would have a kind of a funky angle on the point between the wood and the lead.
Does anybody remember back in grade school? I do. That my first pencil they gave us to learn to start printing, then writing, was a big fat red pencil. Anybody remember those?
Oh yeah. And the great big lined paper.
Yes. So I'm trying to find.
I remember. Yeah.
I'm trying to find a big fat red pencil. Yep.
You have to know the make of that pencil.
But let me see if I can find this real quick. I have to show it to you. I'm so proud of it. I know it's not much, but it's mine. Where you at? Ah, here we go. Well, that's one of them. Where did you go? Everything falls off. Yep, I'll be ready. I know I have it.
I saw a reference to a carpenter's pencil. Is that one of the flat ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They write on lumber with those. Well, I mean, see, that's the pencil you always see them sticking behind their ear, lace flat against their heads.
Back when I had hair to hold it.
Oh, here we go, guys. Here we go. Tablets. I know it's not pencils, but I'm going to share it anyway. Tablets. Remember these guys? Tablets.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'll save the best one for last. And more tablets.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Back in good old days. Yes. Now, the king of tablets. Dun, 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 dun. Chief. Remember that one?
Big Chief.
Yeah.
That's what John Boy used in the Waltons.
Wow, isn't that something? Wow. Yep.
Here's something that some of you may know. This is not the biggest image, but this was posted on blackboards. Was anybody here trained in the Palmer method of writing? That's the Palmer method alphabet. Yeah. That's sort of what I base what I do on. It's not quite. I mean, I have my own sense of aesthetic with what I'm looking to do, but that's a great exemplar to follow if you want to really do things correctly. The other thing I wanted to remind you guys about. In a week, I'll go live with this.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's going to be
Yeah.
it's going to be restricted only to Larry's Facebook page. And so that'll come due on Saturday, March 5th, after 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this will be supplied with the 14 karat gold Yovo nib of your choice, number 6 of your choice. So it will be posted. I'll give you guys a heads up when it goes up, but all that has to be done is you just click like. It doesn't matter if you comment or not. So I think I took it off, right? Yeah. Okay.
So if I click like 50 times, I get a better chance?
You can only click once on Larry's site, right? You know, yeah, exactly. It's a blind
I think
drawing.
it's like, unlike. So knock yourself out. Go for it.
That wouldn't be good.
No, it just clicks on the like, and I'll announce it then. But it's normally I would post these across several different websites, different Facebook pages, but it gets too cumbersome. And to be honest with you, I don't interact as much with those websites. So
Now this evening when we do the 6, is that right?
6, yes.
Yeah, with Mike Green, we're going to be doing a giveaway. Mike and I are going to do one of his pens to give away. We're splitting the cost. That's going to be given away, and then
I didn't know there was one at 6 tonight.
yeah.
Where does this stuff get posted? I look on Mr. Announcer all the time. I don't.
It's on there.
Not mine. That's
No,
not
it was added relatively recently, because a few days ago Mike Talk was the last one up there. And
yeah,
so
because Mike was been out of town. So yeah, we met Mike last weekend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
So 6 tonight.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we're doing the pen, and we're doing the Frank's. He won't be on. He's going to a wedding, but donating the ink from Frank. And then at the last week of this month, I'm going to be donating some pen cases from Lena and ink as well. So still got a lot of stuff going on still. There was one more thing I wanted to ask. On the regular, okay, on any mechanical pencil, it only takes a certain size, right, of lead. Correct?
Right, and I just posted earlier the fact that Jet Pens has, like, for example, Pentel pencils in the 0.3, 0.5, and 0.7 size, but there's others out there. There's 0.9, 3.5, and others.
Now, there are some pens and pencils that Auto or Tech something, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 colors, and you can add an eraser to it, a pencil to it, and then pick the 3 or 4 colors you want of ink in it. Pretty cool.
one of the things I didn't touch on, because it was just beyond the scope of what I could talk about in the time we had, is the colored pencils, where they have different pigments that are put together with combinations of wax and clay to get, and you know, the higher amounts of wax in some of these pencils. Do you guys remember grease pencils that you peel off? Those had higher amounts of wax in it, and it's an incredible amount of. It really is the artists that keep these things alive, because they even with the pointed pen stuff, you know, they depend on that for their artwork, and you know, I'm glad pencils are still around.
My wife.
I'm hoping my niece would.
Artist. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, my wife is a pastel artist, and she uses those pencils. And a lot of times they mix the pencils in with their pastel work.
Yeah,
and the pastels are often really waxy.
Are you talking about those pencils you tear off the ends for the
No, they're sharp.
I mentioned that. I mean, it's a different thing. I mentioned that before, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And you have the old pencil and fountain pen sets too that Esterbrook made. I know other brands made them, but this is what the pencil I use every day, which is kind of cool.
Liz, you have a cap for that? That pencil?
Yeah, there's a cap. Whoops. No, there's no cap. Well, there's this part. It's not a cap, but this is where the eraser is, and then you push down to extend the lead out. But there's a my niece who uses pencils all the time because she's an artist, but there's plastic caps like Joe was talking about, but there's plastic ones that you can actually buy. But this one, I push the lid back into it,
Yeah.
so it doesn't need a cap. But the fountain pen part, yes, of course it has a cap to it. Yeah.
I know Jet Pens and some other stores sell the cap for the pencils as well. So to save the lid, I guess it protects it. So I've been thinking about getting one of those as well.
Guys, this is where I've got to sign off.
Well, we'll be leaving it shortly.
I was going to say, you're probably going to be done by the time I get back, but Dr. Joe, thanks. That was great. I learned a lot today. That was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. And don't forget, yeah. Is everybody coming back on or who can come back at 6 o'clock? Is that what we have?
I hope we are.
Probably.
I hope.
Yeah. I got to get my free pencil. My free pen, I mean. Just kidding. All right,
I'm
goodbye.
coming back. Well, what I'm going to do right now is go eat some cake.
Oh, I'll take that. Send it to me.
Why not? Right, Doc? Can't beat them, join them. Yes, sir. I don't care. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it today with Dr. Joe and the pencil. All right, folks.
Dr. Joe,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for all your time today.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.